actually not Raylene and
Baby.
me. Mics are hot.
Mike is hot,
Mike
baby.
is hot. It's going to be one of those shows, folks.
We're gonna have a lot of
It's going to
fun.
be one of those shows. Welcome to the Barry Beat podcast, live from Inside Scoop Studios, Main Street, Barry, Vermont. Streaming live from 802 Scoop and Barry Beat podcast. And with us tonight, we have Michael.
Hello.
Do I say the ever lovely Michael?
If you'd like,
No.
just don't call me late for dinner.
I'm looking at the my camera. I look colorful and you look kind of dreary.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what's going on here.
It's been a long week, man.
Been a long week.
Not a lot of school. Been taking a lot of time off for family stuff. And
That's right. So you work for the school system. We haven't had you on since forever.
it has been forever. I do work for the school system.
Yeah, because we haven't had you on since then. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I have to be careful in the things that I say while I work for the school system. As you know, as
we
being
don't
the
want you to
board
get into
chair.
trouble.
I don't want to get in trouble.
No, we definitely don't want you to get into trouble. I'm like messing with the settings live to get it so you look more alive.
More alive.
I think that looks better. I think that looks a lot better. Now you look colorful like me. Like I look colorful. I look colorful. See?
Only Monday. Yeah.
Good evening, Liam, and good evening, Ben. So let's talk about the fact that you work for the school system. So Michael, let's see, it was like a year ago you took a position. Was it a year ago?
It is actually. It'll be a year in February that I took a position inside the building.
Yeah. Okay. So we must have had you on.
We've had me on, but I don't talk anything really about the school. Sometimes I promote it, just with some other stuff. I am going to promote the budget. I have some really difficult things to say about the budget, but I can't.
You can say support. You're going to say that you support the
you
fourth
have to support it. And I'm going to say this as somebody who does 2 positions full-time at the school in place of 1. So I'm the transportation and sub-coordinator. And where in many years they've had both a transportation coordinator and a sub-coordinator. So that was an interesting role that I took on this summer. So I don't really talk too much about the budget, other than that personally the budget has killed me as it exceeded my workload when sadly things have to fall through the cracks because there's just not enough time in the day. But, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But I support this budget coming up. I know there are going to be some changes that people necessarily aren't going to be happy with. But when you spend, and things haven't really been taken care of, top-down approach, superintendents in the last, 5 years or so, really it wasn't a great leadership opportunity taken with respect. With a good fiscal conservative approach. And then we have four different schools now, between Barrytown, Barry City, and Spalding, that are all part of this supervisory union, but we don't really share a lot. So.
Well, so I do got to get this out of the way because Raylene points it out. Raylene is not with us tonight. She's not dead. She's just not with us. She's not feeling well. So she's been feeling under the weather since sometime early last week. I actually think it was Saturday that she started feeling. No, it was Monday. She started feeling sick. So she's not with us today. She's not dead. She's just not with us. And for longtime viewers, they will get the funny joke on that. So she will be back hopefully if not Thursday, Monday next week.
We love you, Raylene.
We do.
And miss you.
We do. Michael's not lovely, though.
I'm definitely not lovely like you.
Definitely not. See,
I have a different kind of lovely.
don't forget, Raylene, to share it to all the pages, since you are watching. But that being said, so I wanted to have Michael come on because we wanted to do a show so that at least we could go through the city council packet. Are you excited about going through the council packet?
Every week.
Every week.
No, we don't have city council every week. Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
And sometimes it's like every third week with then a week backed up with it. But you can catch the actual council meeting schedule online. You then can know exactly when we're going to meet. We set those up for 6 months in advance. So that way, if you wanted to attend, you could always put that in your calendar. Things are always posted on Front Porch Forum as well. I know that the city manager and the assistant have done a really good job for the most part, other than this last open meeting law issue with posting agendas properly in a timely fashion in the ways that they're supposed to. And that's actually one of the things that we'll be working on this week on City Council.
I see that, talking about the open meeting laws. So I can actually talk a lot about this. When I saw the open meeting law violation come through to you guys, I was like, oh, I have lots of experience here. Let me just tell you. So I called Tom and I'm like, this is what you got to do. And he was like, I know, Michael. Because Tom knows all of it. It was, but so basically, for those that don't know, so the meeting was warned strangely. By looking at the charter, technically, I don't think it was wrong, because the charter says, but it was warned incorrectly according to the ordinance.
Yeah, so
Is that correct?
So the meeting was originally warned as a regular meeting, but based on the city charter, the charter says that regular meetings can only occur on Tuesday nights.
Right.
So based on that language, the meeting would have to be a special meeting. So a special meeting needs to be warned 48 hours prior, and a regular meeting is...
Well, no, the ordinance doesn't. So the charter says it can be warned anytime.
Right. So the charter is in conflict with the new state statute, and that's the issue at hand.
But with the charter, because the way that it works is that charter trumps state statute. So
That's
the
not
fact
the
that
understanding from the legal advice. We're actually changing charter to reflect what state statute says.
oh, so you're going to change the charter?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's fine. But at the end of the day, because charter is approved by the legislature, the charter supersedes state statute.
So I think the only time that it may not is when the law would be more strict. So if the state were to have a more strict law than the city, then I think you would have to abide by the state, the more strict of the codes. And I could be wrong, but I know that normally happens with food service, with any kind of food code. So if the local level or the county level, like when I was in Massachusetts, the county had a level that was superseding because they said, we're going to be more strict. We're going to go one level above.
Right. Which is correct about code like that, but when it comes to charter,
Yep.
it's state statute. So charter is actually state statute. And the way that it works is it goes to whichever one is, the charter is what guides it. Because it does the way that I understand it. And if the lawyer told you differently, he's wrong. Or she, whatever, or whatever. They're wrong. That's my opinion. That's 14 years of city council. It's what I've been always told is that charter supersedes statute. So I'm going to go and say that and then say Tom could have warned that damn meeting anytime he wanted.
So, and that's where we did get into the legalities of things in executive session with the lawyer, where that based on the city charter provided more time, and the state statute provided a lesser amount of time. and that's actually what we got hammered on.
Yeah.
That, and then the fact that we called it a regular meeting instead of a special meeting, but then rewarned the meeting on Sunday to be a special meeting for the Monday following.
Yeah. So basically tomato.
Tomato, and hay. And it really was a case of just not having wording done properly when
Yeah.
that agenda came out on Friday. So had the wording been special meeting instead of regular meeting, because our regular meetings per city charter are that they have to be on Tuesdays, then it'd have been a no-brainer.
It's weaponizing the open meeting law. That's the way that I look at it.
Yeah.
It's something that I deal with on the school board all the time. You know, it's very frustrating. But at the end of the day, you know, the violation is there.
Yep.
You acknowledge the violation. You determine whether or not it was a violation,
Right.
and then determine the cure. And
Yep.
who makes that decision? The governing body makes the decision. The governing body, now it's my understanding you guys acknowledged the error.
Yep.
And you took the cure was you, because you determine, not the person that files the violation.
Right.
And that's where people get confused. They're like, because they're sending in the violation, they think they have like the ultimate authority. No, you don't. You can make a recommendation, but we can ignore your recommendation.
Right.
Which happened on the school board, and it also happened on city council, correct?
I mean, for the most part, that the decision was that one of the violations was that we didn't have posted on the city website how to appeal or to file a complaint if there was an open meeting law violation. So that
Well,
was
that's
one of.
not, that's not a violation though.
Well, it is, because on the website, according to the new state statute, you have to have a procedure, a complaint procedure in place, and it has to be accessible online like that. So, you know, again, just more of those, instead of just saying, hey, we see this as a flaw in the system, let's just get this better. No, we're going to slap you with an open meeting law violation. We're going to make the city pay for the attorney to have to talk about this. It's just, to me, a waste of time and money when things could have just been rectified as just common decency. It was, people didn't get the vote that they wanted, so they thought that they were going to overturn the vote. And even the night when we voted, just to affirm that those were the actions taken by council that evening, one councilor still refused to acknowledge that that was the case.
It's too bad.
It's politics.
It's a lot of drama. Hey, back in my day, when I was a city councilor, no longer a city councilor, Amanda's doing a good job. I will fully acknowledge that. I hate saying it, but she's doing a pretty good job.
I will say as well that it has been nice to have Amanda on council. That if there were somebody to take your seat, I think that she is someone that has done a really good job in stay of you. She's produced a lot of really good work. She's voted not along party lines. It hasn't been partisan. It's been very, what's best for Barre.
I know.
I hate to say that sometimes about somebody on the other side of the aisle, but really she's somebody that can work across political aisles like myself. Yeah. She can communicate with people. It's nice to see other people that aren't so polarized by politics, that like we can have conversations about things and get things done.
I think, the more I reflect on it, I think probably the issues that I had were mainly focused around the whole Barre values area,
Yeah.
which is the progressives.
Well, it is.
Which still have problems with.
Well, I mean, if we look at the things that have been going on, the strife and the conflict, the progressives in our community have taken a lead in some of those prerogatives.
Yeah.
Even things like talking about a city ordinance that would give the police some teeth to kind of move panhandlers along from certain areas to keep our residents safe. we killed it on council because we couldn't get a vote.
So let's talk about that, because I mean, I was on the council when we got rid of our panhandling ordinance.
Sure.
And we were instructed to do so by the ACLU, and the votes weren't there to keep it. So this ordinance did you find it? Who found it?
So I brought this up a couple months ago. Nicholas then went, and I didn't actually know he was working on this. So he was working on something. I've been looking into a bunch of stuff, and then he brought this to the Community Safety Forum. We didn't know too much about it on the council end. I only asked questions because he had talked about it in one of the briefings for the Public Safety Forum. So it really caught my attention. So this was something that he pulled together from the city of Brattleboro, that they had put together. And the only reason they repealed it was because they had a representative vote within their community, meaning that essentially you have like neighborhood captains that go and vote for you. And it failed, so they didn't continue it. But from my understanding, they're looking at opening it back up to see if it might be worth investing in their community like that.
And the city council here wasn't interested in it?
Nope, it failed. We
Like,
could not.
By how many?
3-3. And at that point,
unfortunate.
dead in the water. And it really wasn't even a question about whether to bring that particular ordinance to fruition, but it was whether we were willing to look at things like that and mold it and shape it into something that was more Barre-based. And council said no. The council said that this is not something that we want to take our time and invest our effort into.
So then what is council going to do about the issues that are persisting in our community? Because let me just tell you, the fact that, I say this oftentimes, when I think of the stabbing on Merchant Street, where the guy was sleeping and the guy came up and he was like stabbing him while he was sleeping. I understand it was a drug issue, but it sure wouldn't make me feel any more comfortable living next door knowing that happened. So what do you think? What do you think? What's going to happen? So we're just going to allow it to continue? We're going to allow our community to fester in the way that it is?
I'm
Yeah,
speechless.
We are going to allow it to fester.
And you're not wrong. I mean, this is a really touchy subject for many people. And it's always, let's talk about it. Let's bring people together. But what are we actually doing? Something that really came to mind, I was thinking about this on my drive back from getting coffee this morning, was that if we could just make a post on Facebook and say, what do you need to succeed? Do you need a job reference? Do you need, I don't know, maybe you need a suit coat so you can go to an interview? Do you need a ride somewhere? What do you need to get to the next step in where you're at? Do you need help finding a recovery coach? Do you need finding an apartment? Do you whatever you need, just put it out there and let's find people that can get shit done. Because we're talking about it, and obviously our local government's not going to do anything about it. Number one, we don't have the resources to do anything. It's a multi-pronged approach. It's going to take for us to find housing, drug and alcohol counseling and rehabilitation. It's going to take opportunities to get into the workforce when they have those skills that they need, transportation needs. I mean, there's a list of things that people need to get back on their feet, but I don't feel like we're really making any progress in those things. So what has Barre done, or what is Barre willing to do to help things? Well, most people, it seems, not even most people, the people that are making the most noise don't want to donate $400,000 of one-time funds into the J.J. Newberry project, 143 Main project. Well, let's put that money in there. Let's invest. Let's get some housing in there. We build housing, then we can build retail as well, and then we bring everybody up. So then we can also bring other services to our communities. Just there are a lot of things that we can do that we're not doing, and it's like, well, let's just complain about it. Let's just, argue and fight. But when there comes opportunities to actually do something substantial, it's, well, let's not. Let's just drag our feet and hope that maybe something will get better, and nothing's gotten better. It's just gotten worse. It's depressing.
It is depressing.
But these are the reasons that the children that I have, the children that I work for in our community, at our school, these are the reasons I continue to fight on council. Because to me, if there aren't individuals like me getting involved, then where is our community going to be? We have to invest right now for our future because it's crumbling before our eyes. We're seeing people that didn't have these kinds of issues stumbling around our community. It's hard, and we have to invest now. It's way overdue. It's disgusting. And when we have counselors that aren't willing to look at an ordinance that's going to keep our people safe, to give our police officers that we pay to keep our people safe, things have to change.
Well, I know that on February 13th, there is going to be an opportunity for some change because there is a Ward 2 caucus meeting at 7 p.m. at the Alumni Hall, which is right next to the Barre Auditorium. And I know that Jeff Bergeron has indicated that he is going to be running. Certainly, he's definitely a good candidate. He knows the city. He's actually served as a city councilor before, and I think his father was a mayor. I can't remember, but and we're going to get him in here sometime. I would have had him in tonight, but he wasn't able to make it, and I'm sure that we will see him shortly. So not pay attention, but stay tuned, folks.
Even pay attention. I mean, Jeff has been around. If you look around our community, and I knew Jeff when I was a flag football coach, coaching his grandson. And Jeff's just that homey person, that grandfather kind of guy that cares a whole lot about his community. He just doesn't care about his grandchild or any particular faction. He cares about everything and everybody. And he's somebody that grew up in the North End in Barre. He was a counselor. He worked here as a staff member in the city, was a department head, was able to see it from so many different aspects. And I'm not really sure that I've been more excited about somebody wanting to step up for council in the time that I've been on since Jeff. I mean, I think that Jeff brings a lot of things to the table that nobody in the entire time that I've been on council since 22 has brought to the table, whether it be a candidate or a councilor that got elected. Just
he knows his stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He'll be great.
I think that he definitely would be somebody that, even if we're just a stopgap solution for a couple of months, it's somebody that can hit the ground running, know how to work through things. We're going to be going through a tough budget season, and I really think that Jeff is an individual that can really bring things home for Barre City in this next session.
Yep, I agree. Want to say hello to Alicia, my niece. She's watching. And, of course, let's say hello to Paul Flood, Stratton Anderson, and, of course, Raylene's watching as well. We see her posting quite a bit. You want to go on to what's on the topics for City Council?
Certainly. Let's go through the agenda, my friend.
Go through it. So let's talk about the future battery storage facility.
I was actually looking that up.
So I think, is that up behind the C building?
It is, and I'm a little, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this.
You have mixed feelings? I don't have mixed feelings. Do you want me to give you my opinion?
I do. Let's hear yours first.
Okay, so I'll just tell you it's ugly.
Oh, it's absolutely ugly.
Not a big fan of the ugliness that is this. Let me show folks. And doop. Wait a minute. And ooh, there we go. So for folks that, well, look at that. So zoom in here and zoom in again. There we go. So this is the C building is right here, right? Is that the, no, that's the, that's part of Green Acres, right? Wait a minute now.
Nope, so that C building is right there. It's got the white tag. That's the barn, actually.
Oh, they don't have the C building in.
No, so that must be an old Google
That's
Maps.
an old Google Maps. So this is going to be, what this is going to be is up behind there. They're putting a solar field.
Yep.
And, you know, because we have to do solar energy because it's so awesome for everything. It looks beautiful when we put in all those solar panels and get rid of another field. It'll be just lovely. Aren't you excited about that?
No, I'm actually a little concerned with
Well, you
why
live
we.
right next to there.
Oh, I do actually live up on Allen Street at the Barre Housing Authority property at Green Acres, and was a little concerned to see this come through the packet just on Friday, but seeing it come through the city in October. So just hearing about this now is a little startling, and the fact that I live up across from this proposed solar field was a little concerning even as well. That they didn't really do any community outreach, they didn't talk to anybody. It just seems like they're gonna go in and drop a bunch of solar panels and then put in an access road in between the, I believe it's 31 Allen Street and the C building. So it's the apartment buildings that are on the left in between the C. So I'm a little concerned
We
with how.
approved that.
What's
The school
that?
did. The school approved it.
Yeah. And what's that going to look like when it comes time for truck travel? I know I saw in the packet it'd be 2 to 4 months, potentially 6 months of some construction type traffic. So I'm a little concerned, A, about the road quality as it currently stands. B, I'm a little concerned about all the traffic that's walking up, the foot traffic walking on Allen Street. I've been trying to get a sidewalk up on Allen Street for the last couple of years since I've been on council, specifically because of the C building up there, specifically because of all the Green Acres tenants that live there, 50 families that live up there that walk up and down Allen Street.
I'll tell you what, I'll just state it. It's an equity issue.
It is
And
absolutely.
that is the kind of thing that I hope that, now that there's been some leadership change in the Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, Belonging Committee, JEDI BC, hopefully we'll see a more focus on Barrie-centric equity-related issues, and that certainly is one of them. A sidewalk up to Green Acres from Prospect. It makes you think about the equity in that, and that is something that I hope that our committee focuses on that now that the leadership is completely changed.
So we'll approve that, the solar field that's going to come through. I think the biggest thing that we're going to approve is the battery that they're going to have at the site to hold on to the power. I did see that the fire department will have some extra training to go along with that. It's been a Public Utilities Commission project. So I did some homework on this and looked it up. I think that it's a good opportunity, but I also feel that we could build housing there. If we can build solar fields, why can't we build housing? But, that probably comes down to money as well.
Josh Akers asks what it's powering. My guess is that they're making a deal with somebody and they're putting into the grid and getting money back.
Yeah, so they're going to be, the battery is supposedly going to be used during peak power times and the evening time when the solar can't work.
So Sharon Jacobs says that there was another one already built up the road. Truck traffic and noise wasn't too bad. I believe long-term plan is to connect the two.
Oh, yeah, the one up next to the Hood plant.
Yep. I think that's the one that Barre City has a contract with, that we purchase electricity from them, but they're selling it to. It's a weird scheme. Again, I don't have a problem with solar. I just, I get really leery of, mowing down beautiful, well, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, any kind of landscape
Land,
to put
get rid of
solar arrays up.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a nuclear plant there, but I sure would like one somewhere else. Not in my backyard, but somewhere else where we wouldn't have to use any of these solar panels. That's my opinion, because nuclear energy is like super clean, super green.
It's something that a lot of the world has been working toward, a better, cleaner energy. And
Yeah.
I think at some point the U.S. will get on board with a lot of it.
I hope so. Then the Gopher program, I'm not really familiar with what that is.
Go for rides. So essentially, it's kind of like a ride share program, but through Capstone. And it's something that they've been operating more to kind of help out with the short term with STA and the busing situations. So it's supposed to be more cost effective and more community oriented. I know that Sue Minter, when she was the executive director of Capstone, really championed that program. And I believe that she's working with them as well. And I know it's something that we really have supported here in the city for people that don't have transportation but need to get to appointments and things of that nature.
Nice.
Yeah. I know we do have, there's opportunities that our school utilizes Gopher to bring kids to school as well.
Really?
Some of our MVA kiddos, they always need transportation, and taxi services are not very fruitful here in our community. So sometimes you have to explore other options, and that's been one option I know that has been utilized by a family or two, so they can get their kiddos to school.
Nice. Then we've got the cow pasture stewardship committee. I don't know who's running for that. I'm trying to pull it up. I feel kinda bad.
We've got one applicant. She really enjoys being outside, enjoys being part of that ambiance, we'll say. So it seems like this is something right up her alley, and barring any unforeseen things that we don't know, I would see that she'll be unanimously appointed to the committee.
Oh yeah, usually that's what happens. Oddly enough, I can't find the application. I think I can't find the application in the packet.
It was there.
Well, now I feel bad. There it is. Emily Hoffman.
There we go.
I do not know her.
I don't either.
Nice. It's a pretty unique area, the cow pasture.
I've been up there a couple of times. I will unfortunately admit that I don't spend enough time in the cow pasture.
Neither do I.
I spend a lot of time at our dog park, which could absolutely, I'll put a plug in for right now, could absolutely use a committee revamp and could use some help with people down there. I know me and the kiddos spent a good 6 or 8 weeks mowing lawn, cutting trees down, like it was kind of intense this spring.
I think what needs to happen with the dog park in order to really utilize it is you have to make a drive to be able to drive up to it.
Kind of like the town.
Yeah, and have a place where water can be, you can get water from it.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's just, for a lot of people, the trek it's from the school, because you have to go park in the parking lot at the school.
Yep.
Then you have to walk down, you have
Right.
to walk the bike path, which the bike path, if you're, uncomfortable about things that are going on there, might be a little sketch for you.
Sure.
And so there's that aspect of it. And, people just don't want to do that.
Sure. I do want to just put out a safety reminder that as someone who works in the school, we actually have our kids going through the bike path often. We try to utilize as many outdoor educational opportunities as we can, and the bike path has been really safe. Obviously we give students the understanding, like, you don't mess with people. If you see a tent or, you see something off like that, you just kind of leave it alone. But we've had just an amazing opportunity outside on the bike path with our classrooms. So I just want to make it clear, yes, people could feel unsafe absolutely anywhere, and a bike path could be one of those places. But really, I feel very safely on our bike path.
Okay.
So I just want to put that out there. I don't want people
that's
to
good to
feel
know.
safe, feel scared, and feel like they can't go, because it's definitely a nice area to go and
I've
experience.
certainly heard that some people don't feel safe there.
Sure.
Raylene made a comment about the fact that she's been here all of her life and she's never been to the dog park. The dog park was created in 2012, 2010, something like that, somewhere around there. So it's not like it's always been there.
No, and it's really small and simple. I say small, but it's probably twice the size of the one in Barrytown. It's got a little shelter that somebody had made. It is all fenced in with two different sides, and
Yep.
there are tires that are dug into the ground, and definitely a nice spot. If you could drive up, it would definitely be better.
I would agree.
And water would be good.
Water in a parking lot. We could probably find a grant for that. Just saying.
Okay.
I see that you're going to be looking at requests for councilor resignation procedures.
Yeah, because things got kind of hairy and funky when Councilor Wozniak resigned, and then unresigned, and then re-resigned, and made a vote in between resigning and unresigning. So we're just going to make it very clear cut on how you resign and how that works going forward. So there are no questions.
All right.
It's one of those where you identify a flaw in the system and you correct it as immediately as you can.
All right. We'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. Oh, are you going to talk about the Prospect Street and Westwood Parkway in Berlin intersection?
Oh, I think, yes. So we're going to come up and talk about that. I forgot the name of the VSB, I think.
VHB.
VHB. We're going to talk about their proposed traffic calming measures. Personally, I would absolutely vote for a stop sign there. I even told Sandra that, you would have my motion. But unfortunately, as we saw with the city ordinance with the aggressive panhandling, it only takes 3 votes against to kill it. Yeah. So I'm not going to waste my time and effort right now to make that motion to approve a 4-way stop sign there, because I have a feeling that it would die. Let's just wait and see what happens, 1, with this caucus coming up, and 2, let's see if we can't find a different way to get this done without having to make that motion.
So I'll tell you, up until 3 weeks ago, never even crossed my mind. This intersection, it's like, whatever. Don't care, because I never I never spent that much time going across.
Yep.
But in the last 3 weeks, my niece lives up there now, and I've been dropping off Leah. And let me tell you, 4-way stop, yes.
It's crazy. I mean, and coming up Berlin and traffic coming down Prospect is coming down so fast
Yep.
that unless you gun it, and then even people coming up Prospect, coming around that intersection or that hill, it's too much. I don't know that there are real good traffic calming measures from what we've seen that are going to be helpful other than a stop. And I think Sandra makes it abundantly clear in all of the messaging that she's put out that every intersection coming in, every road that comes into the city has a stop sign at some point. I mean, other than North and South Main Street, but those are main arteries we're talking. So to have a stop sign coming down Prospect Street and up Prospect, I think it would be important. I did talk about this at our last council meeting to say, what would it really take for us to implement this? Because it would be important. Let's get people safe, because Sandra's made it clear that the data that people continue to look at is incorrect. That the one study says the crash numbers are this, a different study says crash numbers are that, and then the crashes that people have actually witnessed are something that's completely different. So we're trying to assess this traffic area with data that's not accurate or really, to my opinion, accountable. So how do we then apply the municipal traffic safety data standards in a way that is transparent, knowing that the data is correct? Because we're talking about people's safety. So if we're not going to put a stop sign there because of one accident less than what the standard says over a period of time, then I think there should be some leeway in that standard that says, okay, we understand that there might have been an accident, give or take, plus or minus. There's usually, what do they call it? An error, a margin of error, sorry. So to me, to have one accident away from what the standard calls for, I think I would call that within the margin of error. So, motion to approve stop sign.
All right. That's pretty much it that's in the packet that I'm thinking needs not exposing.
Exposing, huh?
Exposing, not exposing. I do want to say hello to Kristen Perry. Thank you for joining us. And I think I said hello to Josh Akers. Want to say thank you to everybody for watching. Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
Oh,
discuss. We could talk about the fact that the budget did pass for the school. I'm not supposed to talk about it.
You're not supposed to talk about it?
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Because you're the chair.
Correct.
I'll talk about the budget.
I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to stump for it. I've been asked not to stump for it.
I have,
but I voted for it, so.
Mixed with the budget every year. I mean, the last budget took, 4 tries? By the last try, it took us 4 tries the last time.
Yeah.
And that to me is disgusting. We have a group of people that are elected to represent, and we need those people to come together, work together, to present something that we all can present to our community.
Well, I think there was a pretty middle ground met.
Sure.
I mean, there was that definitely the higher budget did not get approved.
Right.
It wasn't approved, the higher budget. There was the kind of like a middle groundish budget, which is, sometimes what you have to do. I will say that what's coming up with the governor and what he pitched.
Sure. Yeah.
And if folks haven't heard, I mean, it's like completely overhauling the system. And we go from 50 some odd districts down to 5.
Sure.
Which is really good. I mean, we need it, right? Like, you look at other states and our system, our district has 2,200 kids in it,
Right.
right? And I was talking to somebody, and they said, "Oh, we're from a big school," and they said they had 200, and I'm like, "That ain't big." But BUSD is a huge district in the
Right.
state of Vermont, and it's the districts that he laid out in his plan are about 14,000 students.
Right. I was reading that proposal.
Yeah,
I think he's got a great idea.
he does. I mean, Phil Scott generally has good ideas anyway.
Well, I think
But-
even some of the stuff that Governor Scott is talking about, or some of the things that we're even talking about with
Lizette.
BUSD. So, for example, I know Principal Waterhouse and I am the transportation sub-coordinator. So one of the things that I do is I work with all of the transportation stuff for Barre City. So we've been reviewing how many kids are on every bus. We've been reviewing what routes we can potentially change to save costs. How can we eliminate potentially bus routes that we don't need to be paying that money out for? So ways that we can save money to kind of tighten that belt. And there are ways that our district can do that, but I think that we really have to be creative. And I think the biggest thing that's been missing, and nobody really wants to listen, is that we're not taking the information from inside the building. We're not talking to the teachers. We're not talking to the people that are actually doing the work. We're talking to building administrators, and I'm probably going to get my ass chewed out for this.
Well, you know what? Why don't we not? I'll just tell you what really needs to be taken into consideration. Need to do merging of the schools completely.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I mean, you're not wrong when you talk about those things. When you're a district, so let's just talk about this in a different terms, okay? Let's just talk about this.
I don't want to, you know what, Michael? I don't want to get you into trouble, so I'm actually going to stop you.
All right.
Because I got a feeling that you could get into trouble, and I don't want you to get into trouble.
Well, let's relay this to sports, okay? Let's say, for example, that I am the director of BYSA football like I was, okay?
Okay.
And let's say, for example, I have 2 different tackle football teams because I can. But in all reality, I could have those 2 teams together playing, not having to work on 2 separate schedules, 2 separate coaching staffs, 2 separate everything, including having all that extra overhead. But if I could have them all working together collaboratively, because they're all doing the same thing, second graders, if we can get all the second grade people on the same page doing the same thing all across the board, it works. And I just point that out, second grade, 5th and 6th grade tackle football. I mean, anything when you're talking about a business with you have redundancy built into things, if you can help change those costs and shift those costs into other places that could use them, I think you can use those monies better. That's all I will say about the budget, and I will be voting for the budget. I can stump for it because I can. I'm a dad of 4 kids in the district, and just based on that, and I think that there's been a lot of really great conversation around the budget.
Nice. Well, I can't stump for it. So what I'll end up doing is having you come in and you can stump for me. Anyway, all right.
We had fun.
We
always have fun.
We have fun. All right. Well, folks, I do want to say, unless you have something else, do you want to add in?
Believe it or not, I've got nothing.
You got nothing?
Maybe. If you want to become a bus driver, I'm always looking for bus drivers.
Yeah.
STA. If you want to be a teacher at the school, you can come work with me at the school.
That is true. That is true. Could always use more
I always
teachers.
need more daily subs. Daily subs, just call me.
All right. On that note, Michael, thank you for joining us on the Barre Beat. Hopefully we'll be back with Raylene in the studio next week, if not sooner. We do want to say thank you for watching. Michael, you have a lovely evening,
I will.
For everyone else, we hope you have a lovely evening as well. And we'll see you hopefully on Thursday, maybe.